clearly you're reaching people.
Yeah.
You play Jesus.
You?
So are you finding that people are having a little bit of trouble in separating you from the part?
We just did.
I already did. Yeah,
Yes,
just the mere presence.
yes, but it's a whole different question for him because on a daily basis, people are responding. So I'm just curious.
Ask you, what was it like going on The View? Because I would imagine you would have thought, oh, could be a minefield, but you seem to handle it. You did handle it really well.
Thank you. Yeah, you know, I think for a millisecond I was like, oh, I wonder how this is going to go. But I was never worried. I prayed about it, of course, and like everything else that I've committed to on this journey, I have to surrender it. I'm like, Lord, you've given me this opportunity. Must be for a reason. So I'm not going to worry about the consequences. I'm not going to worry about anything. I'm just going to go authentically be who you made me to be.
Picture this. Hollywood's most famous Jesus walks onto The View, a show that thrives on loud opinions, sarcasm, and relentless provocation. You expect chit-chat, some promotional banter, maybe a little humor. What actually happened? Absolute chaos.
Wow.
I feel like I should bless myself. I feel like doing this.
I've got some water here.
He's got
I
some
can
water.
help the water if you want. I got some water right here.
We were just saying, at least you're not a blonde, blue-eyed Jesus, finally.
Jonathan Roumie, the actor portraying Christ in The Chosen, isn't just any guest. He's become a cultural phenomenon, known for grace, humility, and an unwavering presence. Millions of fans watch his every word, not because he's a celebrity, but because his portrayal resonates deeply. Faithful, grounded, and full of integrity. And when Roumie stepped onto The View, viewers hoped for a warm, insightful conversation about the series, his role, and maybe the inspiration behind it. But the hosts had other plans. From the moment Jonathan sat down, Whoopi, Behar, and Sunny Hostin started firing their usual provocative questions and sarcastic remarks. They weren't subtle. They slipped into mockery almost instantly. And the topic? Jesus. Yes, the figure Roumie embodies with reverence and care. It was like watching a ticking time bomb. The panel leaned into sarcasm, smirks crossing their faces, trying to get a reaction. Let's see if this guy bites.
That we saw earlier, which shows Jesus speaking up for marginalized people, the poor, etc., which is the Jesus that we love. Not everyone interprets that message the same way these days. Religion in this country even seems weaponized at times. As a man of deep faith, which you obviously are, does that frustrate you at all?
You know, in that clip, we see Jesus basically taking to task the Pharisees that have essentially perverted the law or taken the faith and made it about the specificity in the letters of the law versus the heart of the law versus the community. You know, they were taking great pains to follow the law at the expense of the followers. And there was injustice in that. And, you know, anytime you see injustice taking place, Jesus is not going to be happy about that. And so I think the fact that we see him speaking his mind about it, I think he gave us a really tough example to follow, you know? Yeah.
You could almost hear them thinking. They threw jokes, questionable comments, and assumptions, thinking they'd get cheap laughs. But they severely underestimated Jonathan Roumie's composure. And then the moment happened. The hosts made a pointed, mocking remark about Jesus' image, something that in other contexts might get a laugh or a raised eyebrow. But Roumie, calm, collected, unflinching. He didn't raise his voice, he didn't roll his eyes, he didn't snap. Instead, he leaned into the moment with grace, answering each jab with precision, humility, and quiet authority. And the hosts? Speechless. Whoopi, Joy, and Sunny suddenly realized they were no longer in control. The smirks vanished. The sarcasm faltered. The questions, once flowing with confidence, stumbled. You could literally see them scrambling for a response, the air thick with realization. They were facing someone who would not be baited.
Occasionally the line seems a little blurred. So I try to gently just remind people that my name is Jonathan and not actually Jesus.
You can't hear their confession or anything.
I've had people try. I'm like, nope, save it for the priest. That's,
Jonathan, you
the
can have
professional.
fun with that.
Then I got to answer for it later, so.
True.
Viewers online went wild. Comments flooded in. He didn't just answer, he owned the room. This is respect and class on a level I've never seen on live TV. Jonathan Roumie handled it like a masterclass in grace under pressure. Fans replayed the clip repeatedly because watching someone silence mockery without aggression was mesmerizing. Here's what makes this so powerful. The View thrives on provocation. Most guests either get defensive, raise their voice, or shrink under the barrage. But Jonathan, he did none of that. He listened. He smiled. He responded with truth, clarity, and unwavering calm. And every response felt like it landed perfectly, leaving the panel unable to recover.
For like, what if they just try to corner me on some of the things the church teaches that are, you know, heretical to secular dogma? Were you afraid that they might try to do that, and did you have a plan ahead of time?
There was kind of I think there was some kind of a question that got a little bit tricky, but I try to answer with as much compassion and wisdom as the Lord allows me.
Let's break it down. Whoopi attempted a sarcastic jab, probably expecting eye rolls or tension. Roumie answered with a calm, meaningful clarification. Silence. Joy Behar tried a playful mockery, leaning into a stereotype about Jesus' image. Roumie countered with truth and perspective, turning the conversation back on respect and understanding. The panel froze. Sunny Hostin raised a provocative point about historical interpretations. Roumie didn't argue. He educated gently, calmly pointing out facts without condescension. And the effect? A table full of panelists who suddenly realized they were outmatched, not in loudness, but in substance. Viewers noticed every detail. Fans commented, "This isn't just an interview. This is a lesson in poise." He defended faith without attacking anyone. That's real power. I've never seen The View hosts so humbled. It's surreal the clip spread like wildfire. People couldn't stop talking about how Roumie silenced a room full of talk show experts with nothing but composure, respect, and wisdom. And let's be real, the drama wasn't just about personal skill, it was cultural and social. Mocking Jesus, or faith in general, has become common entertainment. But Roumie reminded viewers everywhere, it's not about appearances or jokes. Faith, respect, and truth matter far more. And in a room designed to provoke and entertain at the expense of decorum, Roumie redefined the conversation. This incident sparked discussions across social media, debates about Jesus' appearance, his historical context, and the ethics of mocking sacred beliefs. But in the eye of the storm, Roumie remained calm, respectful, and powerful. His presence spoke louder than any sarcastic comment or provocative question. He reminded everyone that grace is stronger than mockery. The beauty of this moment, Jonathan Roumie didn't need to shout. He didn't need drama. He didn't need a comeback designed for headlines. He just was. His silence and measured words did all the talking. And the result? The View's hosts, notorious for controlling the room, were left completely speechless. At the end of the day, this wasn't just a TV interview. This was a lesson in handling disrespect, a masterclass in grace under pressure, and a reminder that sometimes the loudest voices aren't the ones that win. Jonathan Roumie proved that calm confidence and integrity can silence chaos, and in doing so, he set a new standard for every guest who walks into a room full of mockery and noise. So next time someone tries to mock what you hold sacred, remember this clip. Remember Roumie. Calm, steady, unshaken. And watch as the room around you, no matter how loud, sarcastic, or chaotic, falls silent. Because sometimes silence and grace speak louder than any raised voice.